but she don't love him back. So when Sinbad's in charge of the date, we call that a sine formula. And he likes to sit next to Cosette and puts her sister next to his brother. And she tells everyone they have the same signs. Now, cosine, different story. Cosette, when she's in charge of the date, she don't really like him back. So, she sits next to her sister and puts him next to the brother. And she tells everybody they have different signs. Okay, let's quickly do a little refresher course on the sine and cosine values. Recall that the sine value is the y. So, in an ordered pair, x comes first and then the y. So in all these ordered pairs, you have cosine comes first, that's the first number, and sine is the second number. So if I were doing the first one, sine of 30 degrees, that would be the y value. At 30 degrees, the y value is 1/2. And the second one, cosine, so that would be the x value at 135. So the x value at 135, there's 135, negative square root 2 over 2. And the next one, sine is y, the y at pi thirds, the y value is root 3 over 2. And finally, the last one, cosine is x, that 5 pi fourths is negative root 2 over 2, right there. Okay, for this one, we're trying to find the sine of 75 degrees. So if we're finding sine, we're using a Sinbad formula. Now, looking at the unit circle, there's no 75 degree, there's no xy value there. So that's when the sum or difference formula comes in handy. So first, you'd rewrite the problem. You'd find two special angles that add up to 75. Or you could find two that subtract, either one. Okay, the first ones that came to my mind was 30 and 45. There's 30, there's 45, and they add up to 75. So now we have an A and a B for our sum formula. So now I'm going to complete the right-hand side of the formula. Plug it in. So when we plug them in, it looks like this. Sine of A is 30. Cosine B, B is 45. Use the plus. And then cosine A, sine B. Now we're going to take individual ones like sine 30. We're going to find the y value at 30, and so forth. So this is what we're finding. Sine is y. What's the y value at 30? The y value at 30 is 1/2. Okay, so I just went through in each one. At cosine 45, the x at 45 degrees, there's 45. The x is root 2 over 2, right there. Brought down my plus sign, and cosine 30 is the x at 30. There's my x value at 30, root 3 over 2. And the last one, sine 45, the y of 45 is root 2 over 2. Now, order of operations, you multiply first, so we're doing both multiplications. Now notice, when you multiply, remember you multiply the top and the bottom. 1 times root 2, 1 times anything is itself. 2 times 2 is 4. Bring down the plus sign. You can multiply roots that are not alike. You just can't add them. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. And we're basically done, but there is a different way to write it. And that way it looks like this. When you add, you keep the denominator the same, so put a 4 on bottom. And you can't add unlike roots, but you can rewrite it on top of 4. All right, you tried this one. Still the sine formula, so it's still the Sinbad formula. And Sinbad likes to sit next to Cosette. Find two angles on this unit circle that would add up to 105. See if you can figure out that part. 60 plus 45 adds up to 105. So we can use 60 for the A and 45 for the B. You see if you can finish this one. So using the right-hand side of the formula, the one with the adding, right there, should look like this. And now use your unit circle. there's your sine and cosine values. Your x and y values, y value, x value, y value. And there's the answer, square root of 6 plus square root of 2 over 4, which was the same as the last answer. Now you can get root 2. If you were to put 45 first up here, that's fine. 45, 60. You would just get your root 2, root 6, different order. But adding, the order doesn't matter. And you'll find that a lot of these answers are similar. They're not all exactly like that one. That was just a coincidence. Okay, now let's look at the cosine formula. Recall, Cosette did not love Sinbad. So the formula for cosine is a little different. Cosette, she didn't sit with Sinbad when they went out on dates. She sat with her sister, and Sinbad sat with his brother. And she told everybody that their signs were different. Adding changes to subtraction, subtraction changes to adding. So we already know what two numbers over here add up to 75. 30 and 45. So let's do that rewrite. So that's the rewrite step. Now you have an A and a B. And it doesn't matter which number you put first. You can put the 45 first. You'll still get the same answer. Okay, now let's plug it in. And since we are adding here, we'll be using the subtraction sign in the formula. So plugging it in, there's cosine A, so cosine 30, cosine B, cosine 45, minus, because remember the sign changes, sine A, sine 30, and sine 45, sine B. So now we're just going to go to the circle, and you know the x value at 30 degrees, write that down. Another x value, but 45 degrees, write that down. Let's finish this one. Check your work on that step. And check your answer on that one. Square root of 6 minus the square root of 2 over 4. Very similar, but there is a minus sign there. Okay, so new problem. Cosine 15 degrees. So we're using Cosette's formula again. This time, what two angles can we use from here, anywhere on the circle, that would subtract to be 15 degrees? And there's more than one correct answer here. Okay, one possibility is 45 minus 30, because 45 minus 30 is 15 degrees. But you could have used 330 minus 315. That would work too. We would get the same answer either way. Try the next step. How did you do on this part? Okay, so cosine formula, Cosette sits with his sister, Sinbad sits with his brother, and different signs, she says. Cosette has different signs, so let's hope you put a adding there, because that's different. Now go to your circle, find your x value, and so forth. Now we just need to multiply. Remember, multiply top and bottom. And remember, when you do the adding step, the denominators must be the same, but you don't add them together. You just keep that same denominator. And just like when you add roots, if the roots are not the same, you really can't combine them and make it 8. You got to keep it separate. A common mistake with these types of problems is students see sign in front of the parentheses and they think they're supposed to distribute it to both numbers to look like that. That is not the correct thing to do, because this is not multiplying by sign. This is sign of something. So when you see this, you have to use the sum and difference formulas, the love story, Sinbad, Cosette. All right, you're trying the next 3 problems on your own paper to turn in. I'm not going to give you the answer. Pause the video and do this one on your own. Last one. Again, do this one on your paper and turn those in.